I'm David Marcus at The Deal with Stuart Levy, a partner at Skadden Arps in New York. Stuart, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Good to be here, David.
Stuart, you practice in technology law, and we've been hearing a lot recently about cybersecurity and breaches of cybersecurity. Certainly there was the Target issue earlier this year, and just recently the Home Depot issue. What should boards of companies be concerned about with regard to cybersecurity?
That's a great question, David. I think that boards need to remember that their fundamental purpose is to oversee and sort of manage the risk of a company. And they need to look today at cybersecurity as perhaps one of the greatest risk issues that a company faces. And therefore, they need to be aware of the issue. They need to be aware of the risk profile of the company on which they are a board member of, and make sure that the management of the company is appropriately addressing those issues.
And for some companies like banks, cybersecurity will be central to the company, but for other companies, it may not be that obvious.
That's right. I think that what we see a lot in our practice is that companies sometimes feel that because they don't trade in personal information or credit card information, that this is not an issue that concerns them. But a lot of the cybersecurity attacks out there are attacks where the hacker is trying to get at confidential business plans, blueprints, company designs, and things like that. So really every company has to focus on this issue. That said, to be sure, there are companies who are at greater risk, have greater risk profiles because of the kind of business they're in, as you said, like a bank or a credit card company, than a company that doesn't trade in that sort of information.
So how does a board go about getting a handle on this issue, and how deeply does it need to educate itself in what can be a highly technical area?
That's right. And that's one of the toughest issues I think that boards are wrestling with today, which is how do we address that issue? How do we get up to speed? I think that you see a couple of different approaches. Some boards are actually trying to bring on a board member who has very specific cybersecurity expertise. Other boards are just trying to get educated across the entire board to have enough of a working knowledge so that they can have an educated conversation with management about what's happening. Even amongst people who follow this area, the solutions that are out there are very complex. You're never going to gain enough information to really drill down into the weeds as to what's going on. But boards do need to have a working understanding of what the cybersecurity risks are, what sorts of solutions are out there, and what their own company is doing to address those.
And does this mean talking to outside counsel, pressing inside counsel more about these sorts of issues? How precisely do boards go about getting this expertise?
Right, so there are two different models that we're seeing. One is a model where you bring the chief security officer, someone from the IT department, someone in charge of that area of risk, to the board to do a presentation, so you have internal education. There are those who feel that might not be the best solution because you're sort of hearing, sort of a one-side view of that, which might not be as general as you need or as far-reaching as you need. And in other cases, there are boards who are bringing in external experts to come and sort of do a class with the board and explain to them sort of what the issues are, again, relevant to their industry and what they should be aware of. And I think both models work. Boards need to figure out what the right one is, but they do need to do something.
Stuart, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, David.
For The Deal, I'm David Marcus.